how is he on TV getting like this airtime with women being like, haha, yeah, protecting women's sports, and like trans people, haha. And also, according to court findings, what he did to his ex-wife was. So in our previous video, we talked about how Sophie Cunningham's become somewhat of a wedge in the WNBA, and the WNBA doesn't really want to be a political battle. And it's not necessarily Sophie, but the way that the media is handling everything. And when the President of the United States labels trans women as biological men, this is the ridiculousness you get. Trans women aren't allowed in female sports already anyways, across the board, except the WNBA is trying to like preserve its intentions and not make this a malicious thing against trans women, which is awesome on them. But at the same time, within the trans community that I have never once seen a trans woman be like, oh man, I can't participate in women's sports. Like, nobody's upset. Nobody's actually upset about this. But I see 10,000 people upset for every trans woman I know being like, yay, Sophie, I'm with Sophie and everything. So let's just recap real quick. This was Enes Kanter Freedom's application to the WNBA, right?
Based on the current guidelines, I can and am officially declaring my eligibility for the upcoming WNBA draft in May 2027. I am definitely not here to mock, make fun of, or disrespect any community or personal choices.
But it gets so much worse because I didn't realize how bad Royce White was. Like, we got this 6'10" guy, 250 pounds Enes right here talking about how they want to join, but we have a 6'8", 270 pound guy that wants to also join, and their whole thing is just absolutely ridiculous, and you have to hear it to believe it. So we're going to get into it. The first thing that we're going to talk about is their little application, right? So this was their clip, and I didn't use it in the last video. I didn't know this existed, and it's much more malicious than Enes. So here we go.
Oh, earlier this week I made the announcement. I'm transgender. I'm a woman. I identify as sometimes identifying as a woman for purposes of basketball, professional basketball. So I'll be declaring for the WNBA draft in 2027 as well. I mean, I think I'd be unstoppable.
Why would you be unstoppable? Listen, this is what Fox News thinks is okay, kind of thing. But anyway, also, like, do you see how ridiculous this is? Obviously, that's like the political ploy. That's like the goof of it, the gag. Trans people are just a goofy gag. That's all we are. But it's so funny and cool that we, again, cannot speak for ourselves. It has to be like everybody else. So what I want to show you is like, this goes way beyond this, and we're going to do a little bit of a dive because this guy is literally a Senate candidate in Minnesota right now. They're a Senate candidate. They are literally the Nancy Mace of Minnesota, in the sense that like they're just absolutely ridiculous and unhinged at what they say, kind of thing. So like here's a little clip, right, from Newsmax, that this is when they went on Newsmax, and this was less than 24 hours ago as of me filming this.
Good to see you, sir, although I don't know if I should be calling you sir given the latest here. So Royce, what are you hoping to get out of declaring for the WNBA draft?
I'm just having the time of my life. I'm living in my feminine era. I'm definitely going through a glow up.
Oh, wow.
And how like the guy in the background even does a laugh there.
And yeah, I'm going through a huge glow up right now. And I can't believe all the hate I've received. That's probably the most shocking thing, is the hate that I've received in the first 72 to 100 or so hours of my trans existence.
A lot of hate. Yeah, that's what our existence is. It's literally nonstop hate anymore. It's been created by a certain political party. Which political party could it have possibly been? There's one political party that wants us to like be able to exist and like have healthcare, and there's another one that wants us in incinerators. Which one could it possibly be, Royce?
A public trans existence. The left is just vicious.
Oh, it's the left. That's right. It's the left.
Death threats. You should commit suicide. Your mother should be ashamed. It's absolutely eye-opening, the hate that trans people have lived with. It's just a shock that most of it comes from the American political left.
I agree that trans people face an absurd amount of additional hate that they absolutely shouldn't. You wouldn't just like go up to someone and start like quoting God because like they look a little bit different than you, but that's what like we have to deal with. Like we have to explain ourselves to people like on one-on-one basis and like get like these weird little references and like why we're going to hell and everything, and just like, yeah, he's absolutely right. There are people that say off the wall, telling us to like off ourselves, telling us all sorts of stuff. I have never seen it specifically from people on the left, but that's your personal testimony. Do you have any receipts on that, Royce? I'm just wondering, do you have any receipts on that, Royce? Royce, do you have any receipts on that? Because I have a ton of receipts. I got a book full from your side of the line. Let's talk about what Nancy May said in the institutionalization of all trans people because of the thing that happened to Charlie Kirk, that there was literally no trans people involved whatsoever. But hey, but we also have like Benny Johnson at the Turning Point USA events saying that this should have been a waking up moment and the FBI should have kicked in our doors and rounded us all up. Does anybody understand like how ridiculous this is? You don't get it both ways. That's what I continue to say on the channel. That's like the point of the channel. You don't get both ways. But hey, here we are again. We got this lovely image. It came, y'all. My first wig. Tomorrow I tested in the court. If y'all don't say yes, queen, you're transphobic. I really don't understand all the hatred. I just want to play some hoops with my fellow ladies. Fantastic. Can we get into like what's going on with Royce here now? It's time to actually get into what's going on with Royce here now, okay? Because like, yeah, we did like the political charade of like what's going on with like within the WNBA and what this person's trying to push. But can we actually talk about Royce White? Can we talk about the person, not like this character that they're playing on TV right now? Let's talk about Royce White for a second, because this will be interesting. The person that we're like calling for, yay, finally, for women first, like, yay, you're finally defending women. Let's get into it. So here's something important to mention, right? This is complex. And they say, Royce White says WNBA draft bid could lead to huge legal battle. The ex-NBA first rounder says he will take his WNBA pursuit all the way and predicts a huge legal battle could follow. They've never officially declared that they are drafting for the WNBA, but like the thing is, like, it's all just this big show to like, hey, we need to keep biological men. Am I just like this guy, by the way? I'm just wondering. So here's the thing. Here's the key takeaways. That's what we're going to get into with this because it's, ridiculous. Royce White says he plans to declare for the 2027 WNBA draft, is not a political stunt, calling himself a potential number one pick who could make the league much more entertaining and vowing to go all the way, even if it means a major legal battle over eligibility rules the states only women can play. White, former NBA first rounder and current Minnesota U.S. Senate candidate, admits he has not yet filed for the WNBA paperwork as his legal team explores options, insists his declaration is separate from his conservative politics, and says that his transition cured his fear of flying. Isn't that great? Isn't that so fun? His return to the spotlight came amid WNBA discussions on transgender eligibility and follows a Minnesota judge's protection order that found he repeatedly abused his ex-wife and teenage son, barring him from contacting her for 50 years and his son for 2 years. 50 years. Do you understand 50 years? Do you understand 50 years? Do you understand 50 years? So here's the distinction I'm trying to make that separates me from this guy. If we're both biological men, right? How is he on TV getting like this airtime with women being like, haha, yeah, protecting women's sports, and like trans people, haha. And also, according to court findings, what he did to his ex-wife was slapped her, forcibly grabbed her, pulled her hair, left her bruised and swollen, threatened and insulted her, appeared uninvited to her home and workplace, took control of her email and social media accounts and used them to contact people she knew, and called her misogynistic insults. Not something I would do, but hey, whatever. And also, you know what? You can look up what he did to his kid, because I'm not even going to mention it here. It's a little bit too disturbing for my channel. So, anyway, let's get back to it. This is why I'm saying like this is ridiculous, and this is why we need to like actually pay attention to this. Down here, live with Alex Jones. Of course, Alex Jones, right? I'm pro-life, sometimes identifying as a black woman. Why can't people on the left be more supportive? All this hatred is making my transition that much more difficult. I already have to deal with white supremacy, and now this too? Isn't it awesome? Isn't it a great timeline? It was not an arbitrary sentence. Minnesota law permits an order that long after multiple prior protection orders and violations. This was her third protection order, and White had previously pled guilty to violating one. He denies the findings, saying that the court was biased and appealed. It was a civil judicial finding, not a criminal conviction for the underlying abuse. So, like, the takeaway, the absolute takeaway of this, right? The really concerning and disturbing takeaway, as a trans woman, right, living in America, watching this unfold and just seeing the people, the commentators praising White, right? They don't genuinely believe he's a woman, but they will gender him properly to the bitter end. But when it comes to us, we're just nothing. We're less than nothing, and it's so validating to the trans woman experience because how are women treated? Well, a certain way, and so they are rewarding him for humiliating transgender people while overlooking a court record involving abuse of an actual woman. Does that make sense to you? What is America? And listen, I don't understand why anybody would need to even be trans or try to be trans, because this type of behavior is just celebrated, it feels like, among a certain party. I wouldn't say it's the left, White. I wouldn't say it's the left, White. I wouldn't say it's the left, White. This movement is really about, if this movement truly is about protecting women, why does a non-existent transgender WNBA player, because there has not been a single transgender woman applying for the WNBA that has gotten into the WNBA, concern everyone, it seems like, everyone, more than a judge finding out that one of their celebrated spokesmen repeatedly abused his ex-wife? Make it make sense. Can you make it make sense to me, please? Because I'm going absolutely insane over this. It's really fun. It's really fun. How does any of this make sense? Can you make it make sense to me? Can somebody down in the comments below make it make sense to me? Cool, thanks.